Elon Musk, congratulations. Congratulations, Elon.
I think that's outrageous. Yeah, no, I'm not going to vote for some pro-censorship candidate.
Elon is not going to buy Twitter. Where did you hear that before? From me.
Donald Trump's cryptic messages about Elon Musk send shockwaves through the political and tech worlds, leaving many to wonder what lies beneath the surface.
Is that banning Trump from Twitter didn't end Trump's voice. It will amplify it among the right. And this is why it is morally wrong and flat out stupid.
With allegations swirling about Twitter acquisitions, Trump's revelations about Elon Musk's involvement add another layer of intrigue to the unfolding drama.
The reason for the First Amendment for freedom of speech is because the people that immigrated to this country came from places where there was not freedom of speech. Well, I haven't endorsed anyone for president. I mean, I wanted to hear what Vivek had to say, because I think some of his things some of the things he says, I think, are pretty solid. He's concerned about government overreach, about government control of information. The degree to which old Twitter was basically a sock puppet of the government was ridiculous.
Trump's admission of using fake accounts draws attention to the complexities of social media manipulation and its impact on public discourse.
From me, fake accounts. She says fake. A lot of them. Nah, he's got himself a mess. He said the other day, I've never voted for a Republican. I said, I didn't know that. He told me he voted for me. A tweet just came in from Elon Musk, who's using our wonderful space facilities and did a great job 3 weeks ago. He said, for example, an American car going to China pays 25% import duty. But a Chinese car coming to the United States only pays 2.5%.
As Trump navigates through a maze of political affiliations, his candid remarks about Elon Musk's political neutrality raise eyebrows and spark speculation.
I especially want to congratulate someone who truly embodies the American ethos of big thinking and risk-taking. After achieving success as an internet entrepreneur, he could have spent his fortune doing anything, including yachting, lots of things. He could do lots of things. So he's another bullshit artist, but he's not going to be buying it. He's not going to be buying it. Although he might later, who the hell knows what's going to happen. He's got a pretty rotten contract. I looked at his contract, not a good contract. An American car going to China, think of that, pays 25% import duty. So we send our car over there, pay 25%. They send their car over here, 2.5%. 10 point, that's from Elon, but everybody knows it. They've known it for years, they never did anything about it. It's got to change.
Trump's admiration for Musk's rocket ventures highlights the maverick entrepreneur's audacious pursuit of innovation and exploration.
In the years since, SpaceX has become the first private company to develop and successfully launch its own rocket into orbit, the first to launch and recover its own capsule. And of course, moments ago, SpaceX became the first private company to put humans into orbit around the Earth.
Trump's recognition of SpaceX's groundbreaking achievements underscores Musk's transformative impact on the space industry and beyond.
But in 2002, he began pouring tens of millions of dollars of his own money into research and development for a new rocket. He's a little different than a lot of other people. He likes rockets. He assembled a crew of some of the greatest minds and talent in American aerospace.
Elon Musk's musings on constitutional wisdom offer a glimpse into his nuanced understanding of governance and societal norms.
Twitter is a war zone. If somebody's going to jump in the war zone, it's like, okay, you're in the arena. Let's go.
Okay. Who does that sound like?
I don't know. Who's it sound like?
It sounds like a guy who lives at the White House.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, sure. He's very good at Twitter.
I know.
I think the president is amazingly good at Twitter.
Do you see any similarities between you and him?
But, I mean, there aren't zero similarities.
Do you support him?
I think there are some things that I think are good, like the Space Force. But there are some things that I think are not good, like support for oil and gas.
And his position on the environment? Global warming?
We obviously do not agree on the environment.
Musk's critique of Twitter's ban on Trump underscores the delicate balance between free speech and platform censorship, stirring debate on digital liberties.
I would reverse the perma ban. Obviously, I don't own Twitter yet, so this is not like a thing that will definitely happen, because what if I don't own Twitter? But my opinion, and Jack Dorsey, I want to be clear, shares this opinion, is that we should not have perma bans.
Well, I was simply asked if there was, if I had decided on who I would be supporting in the next presidential race, and I said I had not decided who I would support. Then I was asked, well, who might you be leaning towards? I said possibly DeSantis.
And now I'm asking you about Trump, whether you would consider him.
I think I'm undecided at this point on that election.
Musk's observations on censorship shed light on the ideological divide shaping online discourse, with implications for the future of social media regulation.
I think he owns a big part of truth. So,
Truth Social.
yeah, Truth Social.
That truth is a concept.
He owns truth. Hope you bought it. So I think Donald Trump. I think he owns a big part of Truth Social. So, if he does want to post on the X platform, we would allow that. We obviously must allow a presidential candidate to post on our platform.
Could you see yourself voting for President Biden? If it's a Biden-Trump election, for example?
I think I would not vote for Biden.
You'd vote for Trump?
I'm not saying I'd vote for Trump, but I mean, this is definitely a difficult choice here.
Would you vote for Nikki Haley? Nikki Haley, by the way, wants all social media names to be exposed, as you know.
No, like I said, I mean, I think these you have to consider that there is a lot of wisdom in these amendments. I mean, the Constitution, and a lot of things that we take for granted here in the United States that don't even exist in Canada. There's no constitutional right to freedom of speech in Canada. So, it's not, and there's no Miranda rights in Canada. People think you have the right to remain silent. You don't actually in Canada. So, I'm half Canadian. I can say these things off both. But you just got the freedom of speech is incredibly important. Even when people and like I said, it's actually especially important. In fact, it is only relevant when people you don't like can say things you don't like.
I think there's a general question of should Twitter have permanent bans? I've talked with Jack Dorsey about this, and he and I are of the same mind, which is that permanent bans should be extremely rare and really reserved for people where they're trying to, for accounts that are bots or spam scam accounts, where there's just no legitimacy to the account at all. I do think that it was not correct to ban Donald Trump. I think that was a mistake because it alienated a large part of the country and did not ultimately result in Donald Trump not having a voice. He is now going to be on Truth Social, as will a large part of the right in the United States, and so I think this could end up being, frankly, worse than having a single forum where everyone can debate. I guess the answer is that I would reverse the permaban. Obviously, I don't own Twitter yet, so this is not like a thing that will definitely happen, because what if I don't own Twitter? But my opinion, and Jack Dorsey, I want to be clear, shares this opinion, is that we should not have permabans. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody gets to say whatever they want to say. If they say something that is illegal or otherwise, just destructive to the world, then that there should be perhaps a timeout, a temporary suspension, or that particular tweet should be made invisible or have very limited traction.
You think right now the Republican candidates or the Democrats are more inclined? I mean, this is where you go to, I assume, to woke and anti-woke and the mind virus issue that you've talked about. Which party do you think is more pro freedom of speech, given all the things you've seen? Because we also see, DeSantis, preventing people from reading certain things. Maybe you think that's correct.
No, look, we actually are in an odd situation here where, on balance, the Democrats appear to be more pro-censorship than the Republicans. And that used to be the opposite. It used to be, the left position was freedom of speech. I believe at one point, the ACLU even defended the right of someone to claim that they were or something like that, So, there really were, the left was, freedom of speech is fundamental. My at least perception, perhaps it isn't accurate, is that the pro-censorship is more on the left than the right. We certainly get more complaints from the left than the right, let me put it that way.
He has publicly stated that he will not be coming back to Twitter, and that he will only be on Truth Social. And this is the point that I'm trying to make, which is perhaps not getting across.
I mean, look, the joke I used to make about old Twitter was it was like giving everyone in the psych ward a megaphone. I'm aware that things can get promoted that are negative beyond the sort of circle of somebody simply screaming crazy things in Times Square, which happens all the time. It's pretty rare for something, frankly, that is hateful to be promoted. It's not that it never happens, but it's fairly rare. I would encourage people to look at, for those that use the system, when you look at the sort of the feed that you receive, how often is it hateful, and over time has it gotten more or less hateful? And I would say that if you look at the X platform today versus a year ago, I think it is actually much better.
As Musk envisions a global platform for free expression, Trump's cryptic remarks hint at the profound implications of technology on democracy and society.
My aspiration for the X platform is that it is the best source of truth, or the least inaccurate source of truth. I don't know if you will believe me or not, but I think honesty is the best policy, and I think that the truth will win over time. And we've got this great system, and it's getting better, called Community Notes, which is fantastic, I think, at correcting falsehoods or adding context. In fact, we make a point of not removing anything, but only adding context. Now, that context could include that this is completely false, and here's why. And no one is immune to this. I'm not immune to it. Advertisers are not immune to it. In fact, we've had Community Notes, which has caused us some loss in advertising. Speaking of loss of advertising revenue, if a community note, if there's false advertising, the Community Note will say, "This is false," and here is why. There's one specific example that is public knowledge, so I'll mention it, which is at one point Uber had this ad which said, "Earn like a boss." And it was community noted, if by boss you mean $12.47 an hour. This did cause at least a temporary suspension of advertising from Uber. I mean, look, I'm sorry for that tweet or post. It was foolish of me. Of the 30,000, it might be literally the worst and dumbest post that I've ever done. And I try my best to clarify 6 ways to Sunday. But at least I think over time it will be obvious that, in fact, far from being anti-Semitic, I'm in fact philo-Semitic. And all the evidence in my track record would support that.
This, though, there are people who say crazy things on X, as you know. Maybe you think they're crazy, maybe they're not.
The aspiration for X is to be the global town square. Now, if you were to walk down to, let's say, Times Square,
right?
Do you occasionally hear people saying crazy things?